level here.
Yeah, it's good to see. I've also like seen him come from just starting SC2 till now, and it's a really like good rise. Good to see players getting better and improving.
Yeah.
I wish I was improving, but apparently I'm terrible. It's all right though. So we're just waiting on these guys to start. Everyone is in the lobby. We're good to go.
Can't see shit.
Anyone on the stream, we basically have think like spotters on a truck. We got like a whole row.
Yeah,
of
we have
them
about 64
shine on
LEDs going straight into our brains. It's
yeah,
like
they actually
bypasses our retinas.
they're bypassing the eyes. I think I'm getting like brain burn right now.
All right, so the countdown is on. We're gonna have iVn SRZenAku versus Avant-Garde NXZ on Daybreak Ladder Edition.
The ladder edition, indeed.
Yeah.
All right, ladder edition.
This is
They're
gonna be
better. They're definitely worse.
some fun action.
Mm-hmm.
Are you gonna do the camera stuff?
I don't know about this mouse, but alrighty, I'll go for it.
So in the top right, we have our... Oh, they're both blue. We have our dark blue Protoss. iVn SRZenAku.
I actually can't zoom, unfortunately. I tried.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
And then in the bottom left, we have our light blue Zerg. Avant-Garde NXZ.
Alrighty, and a ZVP on Daybreak. It's a very nice standard old map. Been seeing a lot. I'm really interested to see what these guys are going to do. I imagine it's going to be a very standard game, for Jeffy into some sort of probably Stargate-oriented play. And probably fast 3 bases out of NXZ.
Yeah.
Transitioning into... What do you reckon is the most common ZVP build we see out of Zerg in Heart of the Swarm?
So far in Heart of the Swarm, the Roach Hydra composition mid-game, like with the heavy pushes towards the naturals and the third, I found has been most dominant from all the streams that I've watched. As for what happens at high-level ladder, I'm not actually too sure.
I'm definitely keen to see some Vipers out here too, for sure, probably from NXZ.
Yeah,
to counter the AoE-based play of Protoss players.
Oh, if you cast Blinding Cloud on like High Templars, can they not cast?
No, they can, but like you can pull them and then like one-shot them.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, man, Abduct is a sick ability.
We do have the probe for SRZenAku scouting out here NXZ. We just see the standard 15 pull going down. Not going to try and get a hatch first while the probe's there. It's not the brightest decision you can make.
Yeah.
Unlike this light, which is in fact the brightest decision you can make. Forge first out of SRZenAku. Good. I don't know. I'm a fan of Nexus first, but still good, still safe.
Yeah. I guess. Well, when you're playing against someone of NXZ's caliber, I think you just want to play as safe as possible. So.
At the same time, I mean, he had his probe in his opponent's main. Maybe it did get there roughly when you want to put the Forge down, though. So it's very hard to sort of judge this. He does put a pylon block down and does cancel it. Interestingly, I wouldn't have minded if he just not bothered with this. I don't know how much of an investment it is, how worthwhile an investment it is in Heart of the Swarm.
I don't think it's ever really worth it to pylon block and then cancel the pylon. If you're going to put the pylon down, just let it go down. Like, otherwise, it's just a waste of money and it puts a dent in your build order and it's just generally unpleasant.
Exactly. I mean, he was floating the money anyway. That does delay his Nexus slightly, and he would have liked. I mean, a few more seconds of probe production is never bad, especially with that chrono boost.
Yeah.
We do see the third going down now for NXZ at the faster location, considering the probe's shenanigans.
It just looks like a very standard opener from both parties here.
Was it just 2 lanes from NXZ as opposed to the traditional 4?
Yeah, it looks like it.
He thinks he's going to be very, very safe, no pressure at all coming out of SRZenAku.
He doesn't give a single shit about Zealot Stalker timings, which are actually very prominent on the Korean ladder, I've noticed.
Yeah, especially with a mothership core floating over the top of them, like sort of killing everything you've got.
Yeah.
It's not the funnest thing to face off against, but it just kills the queen and goes home. Doesn't tend to do too much, I found.
It is a good option for Protoss these days to go for a little bit of that early pressure, stop the Zerg from just droning to 152 drones like in the first 6 minutes. So,
what do you? I don't know. This cycle feels really far forward.
Yeah,
that's just me. That's like, what? Why is
you
this
need
out
like
here?
7 stalkers to fill that gap. There.
Yeah, this is not the most pleasant sort of wall off to have. Maybe a slight like building placement error from SRZenAku. I'm not sure. I'd be very surprised if that was the case.
Going for the classic Immortal wall off, I think. Immortal block.
Immortal block.
Yeah.
Yep. Starting +1 immediately, or not quite immediately, but very, very early on this game. No gas as yet taken for NXZ. Not too surprising. I mean, it isn't not yet 6 minutes of game time, but in Heart of the Swarm, you know, you do sometimes see a little bit of an early gas just to get the layer a little bit faster, start on the Hydra production if it's needed, if your opponent does go for a very Stargate-oriented sort of high-pressure build. How do you feel about, like, against Stargate and the fact that Hydralisks actually just died to Phoenix and Void Ray and Oracles and Tempests and Carriers? And
I think defensive Hydras are actually pretty good against Stargate, but the problem is if you go defensive Hydras versus Stargate, they take a third without really being challenged, like without any resistance.
Pressure at all.
Yeah, and like letting a Protoss take third without any economic damage really puts the Zerg far behind. So I'm not a huge fan of the Stargate openings as it stands, but there are timings that you can punish them or at least force them into a corner for a bit while you try and get your fourth up if you can detect that they're going for a third.
We do see a robo-based expand, I'd assume, out of ZenAku, given the unit, the heavy probe chronoing we have. And I'd likely see a third base behind some Immortals, which is a very, you know, solid standard build. Very similar to what we saw in a lot of Wings of Liberty. And we have a Roach Warren on the way somewhere, I'm guessing here, for NXZ.
I think, try clicking on the icons in the production tab. I think it takes you to...
Oh, that's mad.
Yeah, how wicked sick is that?
That is very wicked sick. Alright, we have 2 Stalkers and a Mothership Core poking in here at the third base of NXZ, and there are just enough links here to sort of shoo these Stalkers away, but with the Mothership Core, maybe he could get something done. Yeah,
does he have... Yeah, he started his Ling Speed. It's not quite there yet. Not really too much of an issue, since that Queen will be able to deal with the Mothership Core, and the slow Lings on creep are still enough to scare away a couple of Stalkers. But it is always a good idea for the Protoss to go for that early pressure with the couple of Stalkers and stuff, just in case the odd occasion they don't make any units at all. And
yeah, if your opponent's cutting corners and just pumping out drones, you can definitely get some pretty much free damage on. We do have an Immortal on the way now for ZenAku. Again, sort of standard opening sentries and Immortals, and a third base. They're going to see a lot of Immortal-based macro play here out of ZenAku. Pretty typical sort of sit-back, build a death ball style Protoss play, I'd imagine.
So basically, now it's pretty much up to NXZ to either go for the early Vipers and try and build a solid late-game army before the massive upgraded death ball comes, or he's going to have to try and hit a timing attack within the next like 3 to 4 minutes if he really wants to try and push the Narco over the edge.
Yeah, we do see him getting a Spire and a Hydralisk there now, so I'm interested to see where he's going to go. He hasn't put down an infestation pit, which means we're not going to be seeing Vipers ridiculously quickly. So maybe some sort of corruptor-oriented play to deal with any Colossus that come out. I'm not too sure if he's actually seen that Robo Bay, but apparently not.
Sure, if he was checking for the gas time, he probably would have given it away regardless.
He knows what's going on.
Yeah.
A lot of Lings out on the map, doing a little bit of poking and prodding.
Wonder if that wall off is going to give ZenAku some trouble here.
Yeah, they might be regretting this one if those Lings tried to run by. Is that like 2 force field walls almost?
It'd be close to it, eh?
It'd be very amusing if it was. I'd probably die laughing.
So,
I think ultimately these things aren't going to be able to get too much done, but they do get, you know, really good vision of ZenAku's unit composition and where his army is and what it's consisting of. And we do see a Nexus cannon here not actually doing anything.
Yeah,
so
that
sort
was
of unfortunate.
A little bit preemptive.
A 5th base on the way now for NXZ as well, and 11 Mutas, so he's going to go for a Mutaling style. Really powerful against Protoss. I mean, it's definitely seeing a resurgence in Heart of the Swarm.
Projectile upgrades, NXZ?
I'm not sure. Does he already have? I can't actually see if he's already got melee attacks. Like the new. Oh, there's like a tab for this.
Click on the.
Oh, sorry, guys. All right, here we go. He doesn't have it, so he's got Roach Speed and Hydra upgrades though.
It's pretty strange.
And he's getting Hydra Speed as well. So, I mean, a lot of Mutas. Maybe Mutas. He's just going to stop making them now, possibly after 15, which is still a big commitment.
Maybe it's one of those classic, I'm going to make a handful of Mutas and force you to build 1,000 Phoenixes and then transition straight into upgraded Hydras.
But won't those Hydras just die to the 1,000 Phoenixes anyway?
Well,
like, I've seen that happen multiple times before. If you've got enough Phoenixes, that is. I mean, you do need to have a very large count for that to work.
Yeah,
He's making 11 Roaches, so maybe Roach, Hydra, and he's going to use these mutas to cover a transition into making some Vipers. And Roach, Hydra, Viper, that's what I'd imagine the composition to be.
I'd like to see some Viper play here today because I never really let my games go long enough.
He's in fact making more mutas after losing a couple to Phoenixes for no reason.
Yeah.
And where's his army? Out of position at the third base down there, but he is warp in 4 units to cover that wall up. And he will keep, maybe he'll keep this alive. I mean, those Phoenix are cleaning up the mutas really quickly, which means what's left inside these force fields should last long enough to clean up what remains for the Zerg player out here.
Provided, with this warp in.
Yeah, with this next round of warp ins, I think these Roaches are sort of going to get pushed back too, for sure. And so 11 Hydras and 2-2 for Roach Hydra on the way.
Although that was sort of just NXZ throwing units away, he does have his 5th base up now in the top left, so...
And I want to say he killed all the sentries, all but one rather, sentries of SRZenAku, which means that like later on, pressures are going to be a lot easier for him to pull off, a lot harder for SRZenAku to do.
Yeah. Force fields really provide that important cutting your army in half.
A factor.
Yeah.
We do have a Templar and Storm on the way, and a Robotic Spade done, so he can start Colossus, but he seems going to keep pressuring here with these Roaches and Hydras, and I think the army of SRZenAku is on hold position there, sort of awkward, like one at a time Zealots charging into this Zerg army. And he really needs to, like, he's picking up these Hydras, cleaning them up really nicely, and I think he's just going to push this back again.
Here we're seeing what you mentioned before about the old Phoenixes doing really well against Hydras, despite Hydras being ground anti-air here.
That said, amidst all of this, like, he hasn't really put any pressure onto NXZ. NXZ's finished droning for the game, and I can't really see any way that SRZenAku can really do any kind of pressure or take a 4th. So I think that's what this game's going to hinge on. I mean, if NXZ can just keep on trading until SRZenAku just runs out of money and can't expand and can't kill him, he's just going to win.
SRZenAku's 4th is coming up here, and he doesn't get the cancel, so that's a wasted 400 minerals there, which is never good when you're being choked to death on 3 base. So
3 bases to 5, it's not a friendly place to be, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, NXZ is playing a really good game here, just throwing away armies at the right times to sort of whittle down SRZenAku in such a way that he can't actually counter-attack at all.
Oh, but those are some huge Storms getting a lot of damage done on all the Hydras. Storm finishing just before this attack commenced, but there's still a lot of army here for NXZ that SRZenAku has to clean up somehow, and maybe with these Phoenix and the next round of Warping, he'll be able to clean up this army, but how's he going to stop the next one? How's he going to stop this big reinforcement?
Nah, I think that might have been enough damage to seal the deal here, because there's like a 70 supply gap here in food, and with NXZ being on 5 bases, he's able to just constantly keep those upgrades going without hindering the production of his army, so he could take these engagements all day and just like keep remaxing.
And eventually, SRZenAku is just going to be choked to death. He's going to have nothing left to make. And again, trying to take this 4th base, but how can he hold it? I mean, just an engagement from 2 sides, from the almost maxed, soon to be maxed again, NXZ, and the army of SRZenAku is just not going to be able to stand up to it, I feel. Yeah,
we've got adrenal glands coming out here for NXZ, which gives that the 20% extra attack speed to Lings.
Cracklings, as they were known back in the day.
So, and also
with
starting
+1 upgrade.
+1 melee upgrade. Getting his upgrades as well, so just lots of tech, lots of units coming out from NXZ.
Best is on the way too, so this attack with the Fungals on this clumped up Protoss wall, I think is just going to be too much for SRZenAku to handle. But he does engage like with one army before the other army is ready to go, and that might give the edge SRZenAku needs to just hold on here. He does lose the High Templar after getting some good Storms off, but he just can't win this fight on either side by the looks of things, just narrowly pushing back the Zerg at the south. And at the north, maybe. I guess I was wrong. I underestimated Protoss once again. The
very easy thing to do.
The power of these units. It's overwhelming. We do have a Great Aspire on the way for NXZ, so he's going to transition probably into some Broodlords, I'd say. That's what you'd get the Great Aspire for.
Yeah, do you think Broodlords is the correct decision here, though?
I don't know. I would like to see some Vipers, to be honest, for some Clouds and some Abducts on these Colossus, but
there's a lot of Phoenixes here.
That's true. Yeah, no, you are absolutely right. It's hard to say. I mean, if your opponent's got Zealots and Immortals, making Ultras is always going to be a risk. Maybe Broodlords is the right choice, but it's he's going to complain that lag cost him the game after, but I wouldn't say
lag
so.
BM.
iVn.
Yeah.
But actually, I don't think this is gonna take out SRZenAku. There's just too much Protoss here. Good Phoenix control and good AoE damage.